Hi, I'm Tim and this is my channel 40 Times Around, and today I'm going to give you Tim's 10 tips for traveling solo. These are not necessarily logistical tips. They're not how to travel solo, more how to make the best of traveling solo. They're more mindset tips and how to kind of approach things. See, the reality is when I travel alone or I travel with somebody, logistically it's the same for me. The only real difference being that if I run into a store, I have somebody to watch the bike. That's really the only logistical difference for me between traveling alone and traveling with a friend or a couple people. Now, I am going to give you a couple bonus tips at the end. Those are specifically logistics, but the 10 tips are how to approach this, what mindset to come into this with so that you get the most out of traveling alone. There's a lot of benefit to be had from it. I think it's a wonderful experience that everyone should try, even if you're kind of afraid of it, because I think most people are, at least at first. But getting through that and getting comfortable with traveling alone, there's really a lot of gifts to be had in that. So I do recommend you try it. So we're going to jump into the 10 tips right after this. So before we jump into this video, I do want to thank Aaron Black. He reached out to me in the comment section with some questions about traveling solo and asked me to make a video about my tips and tricks for traveling alone. So this video goes out to him. Thanks, Aaron. Tip number 1 is to put yourself out there. Don't hide out in your tent. Don't stay stuck inside your helmet. Take the helmet off once in a while. Talk to people. Put yourself in situations where people are going to approach you and be open to that and make eye contact with people. In the past, for me, I have a lot of social anxiety. I've talked about it in the past. I tend to hide from people. I tend to avoid making contact with people. I avoid looking them in the eye because I know that that's like going to be taken as an opening for them to approach me and ask me about my bike, where I'm traveling from and to, and all of that. I just strongly recommend that you put yourself out there. You open yourself up to those possibilities of meeting new people, making new friends. You're going to meet some amazing, amazing people. Traveling alone, you're far more approachable than if you're in a group. You're also, if you're in a group, you're probably already having a conversation. Someone's less likely to approach the group, interrupt the conversation, and start asking you questions or getting to know you. If you're sitting alone at a gas station on a curb drinking a coffee, people are going to want to come up to you and they're going to feel more okay with coming up to you. And you should encourage that. Tip number 2 is stay in touch with people at home for a couple of reasons. For one, your sanity. It's going to help you feel grounded, help you feel like you're still connected with your friends, and you won't feel so alone. But also, there's the security aspect. You want to check in once in a while, let people know where you're at, where you're heading, where you're going to be for the next few days, so that, God forbid anything happens, you don't have cell phone service. People kind of know the general area you're in and know when it's time to start worrying about you. Tip number 3, when you are feeling lonely, which, believe it or not, it won't happen as often as you think it will, but if you feel that loneliness creeping in and you start to just feel like you're just so alone in the world and you have no friends and nobody gets you, my recommendation is stay busy. Get busy, stay busy, just do something. Take a hike, take a walk around your campsite, set up camp, tear down camp, reorganize your bags. Maybe go through your pictures in your phone and do that, or I don't know, clean your bike. Go over your bike and check all the maintenance stuff. Check your tire pressure and go over everything with a fine-tooth comb. There's plenty you can do. There's always tasks to be done on a motorcycle trip. I find that I never really have all that much downtime. There's always something I need to do or fix on the bike, or some piece of gear broke and I have to do something to repair it. So it's easy to stay busy on the road. And that's if you're just, obviously when you're on the bike, you're busy. If you're not on the bike, if you're hanging around camp and you're feeling lonely, that's kind of how I approach that. But to be honest with you, I'm so busy that it never really creeps in anyway. But even if you're at a national park and you're feeling alone, take a walk. Do something different. Just, what is it? Make a motion, change a thought. Just do something and that loneliness will dissipate quickly. Number 4, be sure to enjoy the solitude. This kind of is the flip side of the coin of staying busy. Every once in a while, make sure you stop, let the world catch up to you, breathe a little bit, enjoy being alone. Enjoy the quiet and peace of being solo. It's a wonderful thing, and I think it scares a lot of people, but once you embrace that quiet and that peace, you find a lot of comfort in it, and a lot of serenity in it. I very much enjoy my alone time around camp. I've mentioned this in videos, if I get too much social activity, I'm ready to head out into the trees, hide out in my tent for a few days and recoup and recharge. I love enjoying that solitude. Don't get me wrong, I love being around people too, even though it's taxing on me because of my social anxiety. I like being alone too. I like that. I like being alone with my own thoughts. That's something that it took practice to get there for me, but when I got there, it's really wonderful. Tip number 5 is relax. Now, there's a trick to this, pre-planning. And so what you're going to want to do is basically secure all of your luggage and your gear on the bike before you set off for the day. That way when you get to a gas station or you get to a store and you need to run inside, you don't have to stand there locking your helmet to the bike, locking your tank bag to the bike, locking everything up, because people are going to see you and think, wow, that guy has something worth locking up. If you could pull up to a gas station and casually get off the bike, put your helmet somewhere, and just walk into the store without much thought about it, you look very relaxed about it and people don't really notice you as much. You're not causing a big scene, locking everything up. Now, don't get me wrong, if you're going to be away from the bike for a while, get your pack safe out and lock up your cargo, lock up your gear, get your helmet lock out and lock that up. Maybe even throw a bike cover on the bike so that it's secure. But one of the big concerns with me traveling alone is running into a store, going in to use a bathroom, buying a bottle of water or coffee or something or whatever it is, and I can't see the bike for a few minutes. I get really worried about that. So the best thing to do is just leave in the morning, ready for that to happen, because it's going to happen. And that way you can relax about it, you look relaxed about it, you look confident, you don't look like you have anything to be worried about. Number 6, this is probably one of my favorites, I think. This is to challenge yourself. Now, there's a caveat here. Be safe about it, but push your limits and really get to know what you're capable of. Maybe it's, more challenging off-road terrain. Again, be careful and be prepared for getting stuck or something, but push yourself a little bit. Or maybe it's, taking a hike up a hill that you don't think you can get up. Some volcanoes are super steep, but maybe you want to walk up one because the view is probably going to be amazing and it's something that you'll feel proud of accomplishing. So challenge yourself in different ways. Whatever it is, just embrace a lot of challenge. Traveling solo on a motorcycle is a great way to induce personal growth. Challenge is a big part of that. You should absolutely embrace it and take on any challenge that confronts you. You'll actually start getting kind of addicted to it, or at least I did. Oh, there's a rainstorm? Well, let me get my rain gear out. I'm about to ride through this. If it's snowing or whatever, again, you got to be safe. I've had to pull over because the weather just got too bad to ride in safely. But I will push, and I've learned over and over again what I'm capable of. Used to surprise me, and now I just kind of know, okay, like I'm a strong individual. I've been through worse. I'm gonna make it through this, and there's a lot of self-confidence that comes from that, and self-value. All of these things are just so important for personal growth, and embracing challenge is going to get you there quicker. Number 7, get to know yourself. You're going to have a lot of time in your helmet thinking, at camp, sitting around quiet thinking, or at least you should take some quiet time. You could, of course, just sit around camp and listen to podcasts all day and only ever listen to music on the bike, which I kind of do, and I still get some thinking in. But you should enjoy the quiet once in a while and really just get to know yourself. This may sound a little corny, but start to pay attention to what your needs are and what you're enjoying more than, just what you're enjoying more than other things and what you don't enjoy. Just take a constant inventory of where you're at. You'll be amazed at things that you notice about yourself that you never realized before. It's quite astounding, actually. I've gotten to know myself far better on a 2-week motorcycle trip alone than I have in 10 years of just living life. Tip number 8, along the same lines, and again, might sound a little corny, but practice self-care. Pay attention to what you need, what's hurting, what's not working for you, what's uncomfortable, and fix it. If you're feeling tired and you're getting run down, take a nap. Pull over somewhere beautiful, maybe by a ocean or a river where there's some nice water sounds, fall asleep for a couple hours. If you're getting it's the 4th of July, there's fireworks going off. If you're getting a headache, don't just ignore it and keep riding on anyway. Take care of that and eat healthy and drink a lot of water and stay hydrated and just pay attention to your needs and wants. Be a good parent for yourself. Take care of that inner child, basically. It's a great opportunity to catch up on some of that, because in the normal day-to-day life we have a lot of distractions, we have a lot of responsibilities. When we're out on the road traveling solo, whether it be for a long weekend or multiple weeks, multiple months, or indefinitely, our responsibilities change, and it's really us and the bike against the world. So take care of those two things, in particular yourself. Number 9, I have made an entire video on this, so you know it's important. Keep a journal. This is going to be a great way to track your personal growth. You'll be amazed when you go back and read it from start to finish. The evolution of how what you wrote down changes, how what you noticed about the day changes, the emotions that you start writing and realizing and recognizing. You'll be amazed the transformation that will happen on a motorcycle trip, especially alone. But this applies even if you're with a group. Always keep a journal, because so many things happen. You are guaranteed to forget some of them, and writing them down at the end of the day, it's actually going to help them get their footing in your memory anyway, and they're going to stick better. Tip number 10. This is to embrace the potential and the freedom of traveling alone. The freedom. Let's focus on the freedom for a second here. You see a dirt road you want to go down, you don't have to look over your shoulder and see if somebody wants to go with you. If you want to, spend all day hanging around camp and not really put any miles in, you can do that. If you want to eat at this particular restaurant, you don't have to check and make sure that the other person or people you're with like that restaurant. I'm not talking about anybody specific, Bob. I'm not talking about you. I'm just saying in general, traveling alone, you're completely and solely responsible and allowed to make whatever decisions you want without the worry of it affecting anybody else, with no compromising necessary. That amount of freedom is addicting. You will not want to give that up once you've had a taste of it. It's really liberating, and it's really hard to go back to making compromises once you've had that freedom. And as far as the potential, like I said, pretty much everything I've talked about in this video so far, how much you can grow, the amazing people you can meet, the experiences you can have, and all of it because of you. It's all on you. And that is an incredible, incredible gift to give yourself, and I recommend that everybody do it. Traveling solo, maybe you find that after a while is not your thing, but I kind of doubt it. And I think that at the very least you'll learn to appreciate weekend overnight trips, long weekend trips alone, and so just give yourself some time to recharge, regroup, re-energize, and just get in touch with yourself. I know, sounds a little weird, but that's reality, and it's a pretty amazing thing. Motorcycles really help facilitate that, and I think adventure too, just the whole adventure thing, and you don't have to be on an adventure bike, and you don't have to be in the dirt to have an adventure with a motorcycle. Believe me, some of my most adventurous moments have been on bikes that weren't adventure bikes, and I was on the pavement. I mean, just get out there in the world on a bike and things are going to happen. Adventure is going to take place. Anyways, I do have a couple of logistic tips, 3 of them to be exact. Tip number 1 for logistics. I have a rule when it comes to camping. And this applies solo or not, but in particular solo, because you really have to consider your safety when you're out in the woods by yourself. Not only with animals, but that's less a concern. As long as you're smart with your food, you shouldn't really have any problems with animals. But with people, this is the big concern when you're out traveling and you're in the woods by yourself, in national forest and BLM land. Most people you meet are awesome, and you should not worry about this. But my rule is, I either camp around a lot of people or absolutely no people. I will not put myself in a situation where it is me and one other person out in the woods, away from everybody, in a remote situation. So I am either at a campground where there are a lot of people around, and if something happened, there's a lot of people around. It's gonna be a big scene really quick. Or I'm so far away and so remote that there is zero chance anybody is going to find me. I've driven around barricades, down abandoned roads where a truck could never get down. The only one getting in there is someone on foot, and they're walking like 30 miles, or someone on a motorcycle, and most likely I'm going to get along with them anyway. Okay, number 2, be prepared. This is very important, alone or not, but mostly alone. Be prepared, and that is your safety and mechanical issues. Be prepared with your safety. You should be carrying a GPS signal beacon like a Spot. I have the Spot X, or there's the Garmin InReach, anything like that, so that you can get in touch if you don't have cell phone service and you're covered in an emergency situation. Also, make sure you're carrying a first aid kit like this one from Surviveware. And as far as mechanical, make sure that before you even leave, you have a basic knowledge of how your motorcycle works, what things you should be checking, fluids, brake pads, just the basic stuff. Know what's going on with your bike. Be familiar with it before you leave. And then keep an eye on it as you travel, because you could be somewhere real remote, real far off the beaten path, completely alone. You know, you went way, way out deep in the woods because you wanted to be away from people, and now your bike broke and there's no people around to help you. You should know how to fix it or know how to get yourself out of that situation. Now, don't get me wrong. A lot of things are going to come down to being creative in the moment and being ingenuical. And being able to engineer ideas and solutions that maybe aren't so obvious. So you can't really plan everything. You need to be able to also react in the moment. Don't try to leave prepared for everything. Your bike will be so heavy, it'll be ridiculous. Okay, getting off topic here. Number 3 goes in line with that last one. I kind of got off on topic on that and started getting into tip number 3, and that is pay attention to the bike. So yeah, fuel, tires, things like that. Keep an eye on your tires. Make sure that they're not wearing out quicker than you thought, or you're not getting any weird wear patterns or any cuts in them. Pay attention to your fuel. This is a big one. When you get out in the world, at least in the Western United States, it's really easy to find 100+ miles with no gas stations. And if you pass a gas station with a half a tank of gas, and all of a sudden it's 120 miles to the next gas station, you're pretty likely to run out of fuel. Make sure you're paying attention to your fuel levels, what your range is on your bike. You don't want to put yourself in a situation where you are screwed just because you didn't pay attention. Things are going to go wrong, and that's fine. Embrace that and figure it out. But don't purposely put yourself in there just because of neglecting the obvious. That's it. I don't have much to say about logistics, because to me, traveling solo or traveling with somebody, I'm always self-contained and self-sufficient. So if someone's with me, that's just company. They're not responsible for anything that I have to do on my own. And if they go their separate ways, I'm still good. Nothing really changes for me. So alone or with a group or with another person, traveling for me, it's the same logistically. I just think the main difference is the compromise and some of that. So that's it, really. Those are my Tim's 10 tips on traveling solo on a motorcycle. Hope you guys got something out of this video. If you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell if you haven't already. That way you don't miss anything whenever I post something new about motorcycles, camping, travel, and adventure. Thanks for watching. Get out there and travel alone. It's awesome. You'll love it. Ride safe, guys. I'll see you in the next video.